What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm down at Carolina Auto Direct and we get to take a look at this 1988 Ford Bronco XLT. So huge shout out to them for providing this vehicle for me today. Make sure you guys check out their website. They have a huge selection of awesome pre-owned inventory. All that info is down in the description below. The Bronco that you see behind me is the 4th generation. This one is finished off in an off-white and it has a list price right around $24,000. So we're gonna start off today's review with what powers this Bronco. Now there were 3 different engine options available. This Bronco here has the big boy, the 5.8 liter V8 engine. It's paired to the 3 or 4-speed automatic. There was a 5-speed manual that was available, but this engine here pumps out 210 horsepower and 315 pound-feet of torque. It is rear-wheel drive with the 4-wheel drive system. It weighs in right around 4,700 pounds. It can do 0 to 60 in around 10 seconds, up to its top speed just over 100 miles an hour. And it has a fuel capacity of 32 gallons. You can expect to see around 11 miles per gallon in the city and 14 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 104.7 inches. Its overall length is 180.5. It has a width of 79.1, a height of 74 inches. Its ground clearance measures in just over 9 inches, and it has an approach angle of 36.4 degrees, a breakover angle of 21 degrees, and a departure angle of 17.7 degrees. As we work our way to the exterior now for this 4th generation Bronco, this was also known as the aerodynamic age. So they made some improvements to make this a little bit more aerodynamic than the previous generation. We're going to start up front here with the very flat and squared off headlights. So this has halogens, the turn signals are in the corner there. You can see they're also finished off with chrome surrounding it. And that leads to the giant chrome grille. Back in 1988, chrome was a very popular option. You could see that in the grille. There's also plenty of cutouts to provide extra cooling. And this even has the very large chrome bumper down below, along with the 4x4 logo over on that driver's side. You can see there's some really nice lines coming down the hood too. I really like this pinch line running right down the middle. And this also has a solid front axle, so you can see that up underneath just to give it some better articulation if you were to take this off-road. As we work our way to the side now, this has a set of 31 by 10.5 inch tires wrapping a 15-inch wheel. This also has the manual locking hubs up front, so to be able to go from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive, you did have to get out and lock these in. I'm not going to be doing that today, but it's really neat to be able to see that. I've never seen that in person before. This also has power discs up front with power drums in the rear. You can see the side steps along with more chrome on the side mirrors here. You can see the location compared to the newer models, how this is attached to the door there. We have the Bronco XLT badge, a limited edition badge too, just behind the door. And you can see it has a pretty nice side proportional design to it. The back window is actually very large. So you'll see in a second how much room is behind the back seats. You can see there's a little bit more chrome in the lower section as well as some black trim. It also surrounds the fender flares just to give it a really nice look. And then on the back of the Bronco, we have the full-size spare that you can swing out. I'll show that here soon. You'll see more chrome in the lower bumper as well as the tow hitch. I wasn't able to find an accurate number for towing, but based on the new one, this could be right around 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. So now we're gonna work our way to the rear cargo area for this Bronco. So this actually came with 3 different keys. We have one for the ignition, one for the fuel cap, and this third one is to lower and raise this power sliding rear glass. That was standard for the 88 model, which was very impressive to see. In order to get to all of that, we have to remove the spare tire first. So I'm just gonna push down on this lever. We can swing that out of the way. And then from there, we can insert this key. Just by turning it to the right, we can lower this. Now there's no button or handle on the outside of this door, so you had to put the window down first in order to take this like a lift gate or like the back of a pickup truck, and you could open this all the way down. So that's a bit of a process, but it's pretty cool how you can still get access to the back. And you can see all of this area behind the back seats. You could almost have 2 rows back here. It is that big. There's even a small bin on the driver's side. You could remove these seats if you needed to. So this is pretty versatile for only being a 2-door vehicle. And then we'll just do the reverse process. You can lock this back into place. Insert this key just by turning it to the left. We can raise this back up. And then from there, we'll just grab this tire. Now, since it's not a very large tire, this is a very, very lightweight piece to swing. We can lock it into place, and that is the process to get into the back. So if you're putting your groceries in there, it's gonna take you a little bit of time. And so now with the exterior of this Bronco wrapped up, let's take a look at this interior. So all I need to do is push on this very large black button that would release the door, and now we can move on to this door panel. You'll see it has some carpet-like material on it, more chrome trim running through the middle. We have the grab handle up top, along with 2 different storage bins. So you can see the smaller one as well as the larger one down in the lower section. There's the release handle, and then look at these controls for unlock along with the windows. And you can see more of that material running along the lower section. So moving on to the seats now, you can see we don't have any headrests. They're a little bit shorter, still very comfortable seats, and you can see this pattern running down the cloth. We also have armrests on both sides, so you can easily adjust those as needed. You can see the steering wheel is completely covered in solid black leather, and this did even have cruise control. So we have on and off on the left side. On the right side is how you can select it. But now let's go ahead and start this up. So with one of the 3 keys, I can insert it over on this right side here and start this up. And you'll see on the gauge cluster here, it's pretty basic. You have some vitals along with your fuel over on the left side, your miles per hour right in the center, and then the tach on the right side. You can also see the odometer, so this has just under 60,000 miles on it, and then what gear you're in as well. There's also a 2 and a 1 for the low range gear. So we have your gear shifter right here. That's how you can go through all these gears. And you'll see that red icon in the back light up, so that way you know which gear you are putting the vehicle into. Pretty simple. We have the turn signal stock over on this left side like modern vehicles, just in a little bit different of a design, along with the design for the steering wheel, something that you don't see in modern vehicles. And then over on the left side of the steering wheel, you can see down in the footwell, we have the foot brake along with the release. These 2 knobs here are for your headlights and your wiper blades. So just by pulling this towards me, that's how you turn on your lights. Pushing it away is how you shut them off. We have the wiper blades along with the wiper washer fluid, and then we even have a button for that power rear glass. So you can use this, and it had a defroster built in. Very neat to be able to see that. You can also see all of this beautiful wood trim running around the gauge cluster and all of these controls. Over on the right side was a little bit of storage space here. You can see an air vent as well. Pretty basic dash here. It's actually very far from me. So we have a pretty angled window that actually curves outwards where the rear view mirror is there. It definitely gives you a lot of space up front. You'll see over on the passenger side, the XLT Bronco, along with a little bit of storage up top with the glove box down below. It has a split style shelf to it, so you can put in some items as needed. And right in the middle, you can see all of the AC controls up top. So we have where you'd like the air to go just by moving this dial here. We have the temperature. There's also the fan speed too. Pretty neat to see all of those controls. And then we have the radio. For all of you younger viewers, this is a cassette player. So we had that on that side. You could adjust your treble, bass, all of that information. There's even a clock right in the middle. Pretty neat to see that as well. And then we have the ashtray. You could use this as extra storage down below if you needed to. And then this dial here, which I'm not going to mess with, is for your 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low. So you could use that, of course, to go into 4-wheel drive, along with locking those hubs for the front tires. You can see right in the middle, we have 2 cup holders, a lockable bin. Look at how large this is. You could fit any items in there that you really wanted to. And I'm not sure if a jump seat was an option, but we have plenty of room right here where you could have a third person if they had a jump seat available. I'm not sure if they did or not. But we'll take another look at these seats. Pretty interesting design running down them. You can see we have the sun visors up top, no rear view mirrors there, or mirrors for you. We have the dome lights right in the middle. More nice fabric running along the headliner there. You can see it splits off for the back here, where we have the back seats. We'll jump into there in just a second. Rear view right in the middle here. But you can see we have pretty good visibility for the front seat here. Almost a 180-degree view. Very large glass all around. And so as we go ahead and take a look at the back seats now, I'm over on the passenger side here, where down below you can see this knob with an arrow. If I push that back, the entire seat will actually pop up, giving you better access into the back. So at 5'10", I can make my way all the way into this back seat here, where it's actually very comfortable. A pretty squishy seat. I have around 2 or 3 inches above my head. So you have some practicality for your backseat passengers here. Now, one thing that I do want to point out, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I do believe that this whole back area could be removed with all of these screws that you see on the base of it. From the exterior, it looks like this whole panel could come off and you could drive around with the back half off. You'd have almost like a pickup truck in an SUV form. But this is a really neat back seat to be in. You could have 3 people back here. It's the bench style. We'll get another look at all of this room behind the back seat there. Definitely a lot of space. And you had some amenities like an ashtray over on this driver's side here. Nothing in the middle. There's one over on the passenger side along with an armrest. Definitely pretty comfortable to be back here. You can see with the seat all the way down, I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs. And we even have some compartments behind both front seats. So that way you could have some extra storage if needed. But if I push this seat up, now I can go ahead and exit. All right, so hopping into the 4th generation Bronco. Now, if you're new to our channel, we've actually been able to be behind the wheel of the 2021 Bronco quite a few times. We even went out to Austin, Texas to take them off-road. So we have a lot of seat time in the newer Bronco. This is the first time I have ever even really checked one out in person for this generation. And it's always interesting to see how far vehicles have come. We're talking 1988 to 2021. Now, they did not stop making the Bronco until I believe the mid-90s or so. So this is not the latest generation before they stopped making it and then brought it back for the 21-year model. But it's always interesting to see. We have the cassette player, which some of you may not even know what that is. I was definitely kind of on the tail end of using cassette players, but I actually just finished driving the 2021. So I'm pretty much driving these back to back. And I was in a two-door as well. It's very interesting to see some of the similarities, but there are definitely a lot of differences. As we get this out on the road now, and having the 5.8 liter V8, it didn't have much horsepower and torque that newer V8s have, but for its weight, we are up to speed just like that. So it seems to carry its weight well. And I've put a few miles on this so far. It's been very, very interesting to drive. The feedback in the steering wheel, I'm turning it right now and we're not really turning. But aside from that, even with the solid front axle, this is a very comfortable vehicle to drive. I just noticed too, without the headrest there, it's still a comfortable seat. You just don't have that added comfort with the headrest. But this is so much fun to drive. I love getting to drive older vehicles, especially driving it back to back with the newer Bronco. You really get to see how far technology has come and what vehicles used to be like. It's interesting with the turn signal stock there, but having power brakes, that was something that I believe was standard for the 88-year model. Definitely does a great job bringing it to a stop. This would be a lot of fun to drive around town. I'm not sure if you'd want to get this out on the highway or not, but just around town, this is cool for the price. We have just under 60,000 miles, so it really doesn't have that many miles for the age of it. And I'm briefly talking about visibility because that's something I always talk about. Honestly, you have 0 blind spots in this just because of the amount of glass. The ones in the rear, I was shocked at how long those were, especially in the newer Bronco. It's definitely a much longer vehicle. The wheelbase is slightly longer, but I think the overall length is a little bit longer too. I can look over my left shoulder there. You really don't have any blind spots. Now, we don't have any modern amenities like the backup camera, parking sensors, things like that. So it's been a little bit getting used to that because I'm so used to driving vehicles with that technology that it's completely different to be behind the wheel of this. Now, the Bronco was something that was a pretty iconic off-roading vehicle back in the day, and they have definitely modernized it for the 21-year model. Now, I don't have any experience with this model off-road or anything like that. I'm sure people have done that. We have the 4-wheel drive, the solid axles, pretty good ground clearance for this. So it's something that you could take off-road. Maybe this was something that you had to drive through the snow or doing some farming, something like that during the time that this Bronco was out. And you needed a vehicle with 4-wheel drive, you needed the hitch so you could put on a trailer. Now, I'm not sure with the power and the horsepower and the torque of this, how much it could actually tow. All right, so now switching over to the POV angle for the Ford Bronco. Just get a look at this dash and how much it differs from the newer technology. As we get up to speed here, I think this has the 3-speed automatic. Now, like I said earlier, it had a 3 or a 4-speed as an option, and I'm thinking with the larger engine that this would have a 4-speed, but we've only gone 3 gears and we're right around 45, 46 miles an hour. So I believe it has the 3-speed. It'd be very interesting to drive one with the 5-speed. And one thing I just wanted to touch base on, with the 5-speed manual, you had 2 different options. You could get a 5-speed with an overdrive gear or a 5-speed with a crawler gear. So just depending on how you're going to use it, you either had overdrive for the highway or you had a crawler gear for off-road, which is what I would pick, because I would definitely be taking this off-road to see how well it performs. But just to look at this interior again, look at how far the passenger dash is. It's very far compared to modern vehicles, but there's a lot of space on the interior. For a two-door vehicle, I'm shocked at how much interior space there is. There's even room for 3 people in the back seats. In the newer Bronco, it's only a 4-seater. So this is a little bit wider on the inside, I would say, to have that bench seat. And we'll come up to a stop sign here so I can show the visibility again. But this is so much fun to drive. I would love to take this off-road, especially compared to the newer Bronco, see how well it does. And it's really not all that loud. You can hear a lot of the engine. There's a little bit of wind noise, but it's not crazy for the age of this. I love the steering wheel too. It's so weird to see the different shape. But we'll take another quick look at visibility. Look at how open this is, even with the back window there. There is so much space. Now we'll give it just a little bit of gas here. I'm not going to do anything crazy, especially in this type of vehicle. So I think that's still 1st gear. There we go into 2nd. So this is definitely a 3-speed. That wasn't doing anything crazy. It did struggle a little bit getting up that hill, but by modern standards, it's not close in the horsepower or torque by any means. But definitely a blast to drive. This is very, very fun. I think that's gonna wrap it up though for their walk around review and test drive, getting behind the wheel of this 4th generation Ford Bronco. Once again, huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website, that is down in the description below. If you enjoyed today's review, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I'll see you all in the next video.